Motion picture soundtrack in my ass. Holocene in my ass. Sweater weather in my ass. Deathconsciousness in my ass. Saw you in a dream in my ass. 505 in my ass. Nights in my ass. Oblivion in my ass. Your best American girl in my ass. Redbone in my ass. Skinny love in my ass. First love, late spring in my ass. I need some sleep in my ass. Francis forever in my ass. Hurt in my ass. Casimir Pulaski day in my ass. For the Damaged Coda in my ass. There she goes in my ass. Let it happen in my ass. Borderline in my ass. My kind of woman in my ass. Ribs in my ass. The Wilhelm Scream in my ass. Someone great in my ass. Space song in my ass. Yang in my ass. Love like ghosts in my ass. In the Aeroplane Over the Sea in my ass. Little dark age in my ass. Anemone in my ass. Awake in my ass. Technologic in my ass. Crystalised in my ass. There is a light that never goes out in my ass. Everything in its right place in my ass. Digital love in my ass. Nothing but you in my ass. Sunset in my ass. The night we met in my ass. Bad habit in my ass. Metal in my ass. Cold little heart in my ass. Shadow Moses in my ass. Aneurysm in my ass. Lotus flower in my ass. Obstacle one in my ass. Let down in my ass. Elephant in my ass. H circle in my ass. The obvious child in my ass. After the storm in my ass. 400 lux in my ass. Static in my ass. My boy in my ass. 2 weeks in my ass. 3 yo in my ass. Somebody else in my ass. Everything means nothing to me in my ass. I wanna be yours in my ass. Honey bee in my ass. The city in my ass. Gazer in my ass. To build a home in my ass. Elephant gun in my ass. Dreams in my ass. After dark in my ass. Exit music for a film in my ass. From foxes and midsummer fires in my ass. Bleed American in my ass. Never meant in my ass. Love is a laser quest in my ass. Pretty boy in my ass. Apologies in my ass. Get got in my ass. Windolic in my ass. Chromatics kill for love in my ass. Worms wriggle in my ass. Goodbye my Danish sweetheart in my ass. At the bottom in my ass. Bad Tom in my ass. Snuff in my ass. Trash in my ass. Sour candy in my ass. The ends I'm talking in my ass. Boom in my ass. What's your host in my ass?
Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're diving into something, well, exceptionally unique. Definitely unlike anything we've tackled before.
That's putting it mildly.
Right. Forget, the usual historical documents or scientific studies. Our mission today is, let's call it, an extreme deep dive into a very particular text.
Okay.
It's titled Excerpts from the Grand Unifying Theory of Ass, and we're focusing specifically on this piece inside it called Simply In My Ass.
In my ass.
Okay, yeah. And our goal isn't just to, read the words. We want to really peel back the layers here, go line by line through this highly unconventional composition.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at its structure, its strange elements, and maybe even its profound philosophical layers. What is it actually saying, or maybe not saying?
And that's the real interesting part, isn't it? The challenge. Approaching something that looks, frankly, chaotic, maybe even absurd, but trying to look at it objectively, trying to find patterns, see those juxtapositions, and explore how this thing is really pushing the limits of what we even think of as a song or, coherent writing. It demands careful observation. It really forces you to question your assumptions about communication.
Absolutely. So, with that provocative intro, let's jump in. Where does this song begin? The very first line just throws you right in, sets a tone that's familiar, but also completely shocking. Let's start there.
Okay.
Motion picture soundtrack in my ass.
Wow. Okay, right off the bat, that juxtaposition is incredibly striking. Motion picture soundtrack, that's a known phrase, right? It evokes something. Cinema, big narrative.
Grand ideas.
Exactly. And then slamming it right up against in my ass. It's not just funny, though. It is jarringly humorous. It sets this subversive, almost daddiest tone immediately.
Yeah.
It's like an act of recontextualizing, taking this cultural thing we recognize and stripping its meaning, forcing this new crude meaning onto it. That first line isn't just starting, it's like a declaration of intent. It's radical.
That juxtaposition is really striking. But then, the very next line, it feels like a complete swerve, like it breaks the pattern it just started. Here it is. Big booty Latinas in my ass.
You're absolutely right. It is a rupture. We don't get another song title like you might expect.
Yeah.
Instead, boom, this direct, explicit, very literal statement. And the impact of that shift, especially keeping the in my ass part, it's disorienting.
Yeah, it really is.
It tells you, okay, this isn't just about messing with song titles. This phrase, big booty Latinas in my ass, it feels like it's establishing itself right away as something important, maybe a core motif, pulling away from just abstract references to something, well, raw and visceral.
Okay, so that's noted. A core motif established early, and then after that jolt, the text seems to settle back into that initial rhythm, but maybe with this new sense of unpredictability. It dives back into this long, long list of popular song titles, and every single one gets that in my ass suffix. Now, to really get the feel for this, the relentless quality, we probably need to hear the sheer volume of it.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Okay, let's go through them. Holocene in my ass.
Okay.
Sweater weather in my ass.
No.
Deathconsciousness in my ass.
Heavy one.
Saw you in a dream in my ass. 505 in my ass. Nights in my ass, Oblivion in my ass, Your Best American Girl in my ass, Redbone in my ass, Skinny Love in my ass, First Love Late Spring in my ass, I Need Some Sleep in my ass, Francis Forever in my ass, Hurt in my ass.
Wow, even hurt.
Yeah. Casimir Pulaski Day in my ass, For the Damaged Coda in my ass, There She Goes my ass, Let It Happen in my ass, Borderline in my ass, My Kind of Woman in my ass, Ribs in my ass, The Wilhelm Scream in my ass.
The sound effect title, interesting.
Someone Great in my ass. Space Song in my ass. Yang in my ass. Love Like Ghosts in my ass. In the Aeroplane Over the Sea in my ass. Little Dark Age in my ass. Anemone in my ass. Awake in my ass. Technologic in my ass. Crystalised in my ass. There is a light that never goes out in my ass.
Another iconic one.
Everything in its right place in my ass. Digital Love in my ass. Nothing to You in my ass. Sunset in my ass. The Night We Met in my ass. Bad Habit in my ass. Metal in my ass. Cold Little Heart in my ass. Shadow Moses in my ass. Aneurysm in my ass.
Grunge makes in Paris.
Lotus Flower in my ass. Obstacle 1 in my ass. Let Down in my ass. Elephant in my ass. 8th Circle in my ass.
A Bon Iver symbol, okay.
The Obvious Child in my ass. After the Storm in my ass. 400 Lux in my ass. Static in my ass. My Boy in my ass. 2 Weeks in my ass. 3WW in my ass. Somebody else in my ass. Everything means nothing to me in my ass.
Fitting, maybe.
I Want to Be Yours in my ass. Honeybee in my ass. The City in my ass. Geyser in my ass. To Build a Home in my ass. Elephant Gun in my ass. Dreams in my ass. After Dark in my ass. Exit music for a film in my ass.
Another film reference.
Frou-frou foxes and midsummer fires in my ass. Bleed American in my ass. Never Meant in my ass. Love is a Laser Quest in my ass. Pretty Boy in my ass. Apologies in my ass. Got in my ass. Window Licker in my ass.
Fake Six Quinn, wow.
Chromatics Kill for Love in my ass. Worms Wriggle in my ass. Goodbye, My Danish Sweetheart in my ass. At the Bottom in my ass. Bad Time in my ass. Stuff in my ass. Trash in my ass. Sour Candy in my ass. The Adults Are Talking in my ass. Bloom in my ass. Talk show host in my ass. Obie Deer in my ass. Visions of Gideon in my ass. Cave in my ass. What once was in my ass. A Pearl in my ass. Leave Me Alone in my ass.
Stacks in my ass.
Yeah.
Angel Eyes in my ass. You Were the Right One in my ass. Midnight City in my ass.
That's a lot. The sheer relentless consistency of it. Applying that one phrase to such a huge, diverse list of songs, it's kind of astounding.
It really is.
It's more than just humor, isn't it? It feels like a form of linguistic demolition, a kind of reductio ad absurdum. You take everything from indie anthems to, iconic rock songs, electronic tracks,
Everything.
and you force this single crude phrase onto them. The original songs aren't just recontextualized, they're completely deflated, stripped of whatever emotional weight or artistic meaning they had, reduced to just one thing.
Yeah, flattened.
Exactly. And this repetition, it really makes you wonder, what's the effect on you as you listen or read? Does it become numbing after a while? Does the shock wear off because it's just used so much?
It does, yeah.
Or maybe does it paradoxically make you think about how fragile meaning is, how easily language can be manipulated or broken down through repetition and, well, crudeness? It almost feels like a commentary on, how culture gets consumed now. Everything's chopped up, remixed, loses its original context online. It's almost like a postmodern collage where every source is treated as equally disposable, maybe.
That's a really interesting take. And just as you're sort of getting used to that rhythm, that endless list, bam, it pulls you back. That other phrase reappears. Once more we get, big booty Latinas in my ass.
And that recurrence, it feels really significant. If you're looking at the whole thing, the way this phrase keeps coming back, like a leitmotif, it reinforces its importance.
It anchors it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Amidst all those, often emotionally charged song titles, this explicit phrase grounds it. It's like a consistent, if crude, anchor point. It pulls you away from just thinking about art and context back to this very visceral, specific image, a return to something primal, almost.
Okay, so now we need to brace ourselves because the next part, the final section, is where things get really complex, wildly complex.
Right. This is where it really goes off the rails or maybe finds a new set of rails entirely.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to read the whole chunk and then we absolutely have to break this down piece by piece.
Okay, let's hear it.
Ass in my ass. My ass is ass, bro. Like Loki, no cap, we're all united by ass. Even my grandma ass is ass farts unite us all, echo effect. Big booty Latinas in my ass, July 6, 1856, and written in the Declaration of Independence. Snogwa, Jakey Dickey W. Cockett, Yad Jakwa Cadell, J. Call it Chalet at 3:43 p.m.
Okay, wow. Yeah, this is where it pushes way beyond just song lyrics. This invites some serious thought. Bizarre as it sounds, we need to unpack this carefully.
Definitely.
So first, that opening bit. Ass in my ass is ass. Bro, like Loki no cap. We are all united by ass. Even my grandma ass is ass. The repetition of ass is intense, but look at the language shift.
Yeah, the slang jumps out.
Right. Bro, Loki no cap. It suddenly drops into this very contemporary, informal slang that's a deliberate shift in register. Maybe it's commenting on modern communication, but the core of it, we are all united by ass.
It's trying to be profound.
It seems like it. It's crude, obviously, incredibly crude, but it is making this claim of universal connection, however base. Is it satire? Is it mocking our search for common ground by reducing it all to the most fundamental, maybe the most vulgar, shared physical reality? Yeah. It really forces you to ask, what does unite us? Grand ideas or just basic biology, mundane stuff?
It's like a distorted, almost grotesque, universal truth claim. And then immediately after that, farts unite us all, followed by echo effect.
Yes. And that echo effect is crucial.
Why?
Because it's not just text anymore. It's a performance direction. It pulls the reader or the listener into the performance of the piece. Farts unite us all is, just crude humor on its own. But adding the echo, it turns it into this mock profound announcement, like some absurd ceremony.
It breaks the fourth wall.
Totally. It makes you complicit in the chaos. It challenges what a lyric or even a written text is. Is it a script, a score?
And then we hit the final stretch. That incredibly baffling string of, non sequiturs. It feels like meaning just dissolves completely.
It really does. It starts with one more repetition.
Big booty Latinas in my ass.
Right. Solidifying that motif one last time. It's the anchor. But then it spirals. July 6th, 1856, and written in the Declaration of Independence.
So specific and so out of place.
Exactly. Injecting this random, specific historical date and then mentioning the Declaration of Independence, this revered document, it's a massive disruption.
That's the effect.
Well, it's almost a postmodern move, right? Deconstructing history, maybe. Forcing you to put the absurd right next to the factual, the sacred next to the profane. It makes you question the stability of meaning itself. Does it suggest that even historical truth is arbitrary when you look at it through a lens this warped?
That's a lot to think about from that line. And then the absolute end, the final breakdown.
Yeah. Snokwawa, JKG, WK Jagat, Kwakadao, JLatel, Jagadak Da at 3:43 p.m. Just random characters and a timestamp.
It's not even language anymore.
Precisely. It's a complete collapse. Pure gibberish, random letters, a time. What does that signify? Is it just giving up on meaning entirely? A nihilistic full stop? Or is it deliberate? Is it the final push? Pushing past language itself, maybe trying to express something through pure sound or chaos, like automatic writing or sound poetry. It forces us, the readers, right up against the limits of our own ability to make meaning. What do you do when the text just dissolves?
Yeah. Wow. So when you step back and look at the whole thing, the song titles, the crude humor, the slang, that weird pseudo-philosophy, the historical dates, the final gibberish, it absolutely shreds conventional ideas about lyric structure, meaning.
Completely.
It forces you to ask basic questions. What even is a song?
Yeah.
What counts as communication? And maybe what does it say about us? About our need to find patterns and meaning even when faced with, well, with this.
And I think this deep dive, even though the source is, let's be honest, incredibly unconventional.
Wildly unconventional.
It shows that even texts that seem fragmented or absurd can reveal patterns. They have deliberate choices, juxtapositions, a fascinating rejection of normal structure. This text plays by its own rules, its own bizarre internal logic, and it forces us to adapt how we analyze it.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. What does "in my ass" actually teach us? About where the boundaries of expression lie, about the weird power of just repeating something over and over, or about how our brains just desperately try to find meaning, even in the most challenging, most unexpected places. It certainly makes you rethink what makes a song masterful, doesn't it?
It really does. Maybe mastery isn't always about traditional beauty or coherence. Maybe sometimes it's about the power to provoke, to disorient, and to just relentlessly challenge every assumption you have about meaning itself. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, you've sent us one of the most, well, uniquely captivating sources we've ever encountered, I think.
Definitely unique.
Yeah. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is basically to extract genuine, thought-provoking meaning from what, on the surface, just looks like an absolutely bewildering collection of words.
Bewildering is a good word for it.
We're diving deep into a text titled Motion Picture Soundtrack in My Ass.txt.
Yep.
Yes, you heard that right. And for those of you joining us, prepare for a journey into the unexpected as we try and truly unpack what exactly is going on here. We're really searching for the profound insights that might be hidden within this apparent absurdity.
Well, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that while the language, it might initially seem crude, even just nonsensical, it actually presents an incredible opportunity for us, as interpreters, I mean. Well, it forces us to question our deepest assumptions about where meaning actually resides. How can a seemingly chaotic string of phrases, if you look closer, more patiently, how can it start to reveal profound insights into human experience, into the very act of cultural consumption, maybe even our shared condition? This isn't just some random list. It's a peculiar, maybe challenging window into something far more intricate. It really demands a different kind of critical engagement than we might typically apply to, say, classical literature or some academic paper.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely doesn't fit neatly into any conventional box.
So, okay, let's unpack this unusual document. We should probably focus on its really striking repetitive elements, right? And those jarring juxtapositions.
Right.
And maybe those unexpected moments where it seems to, transcend its own perceived absurdity.
Yeah.
Maybe reveal a surprising depth.
So, when you first encounter a phrase like motion picture soundtrack in my ass, beyond the immediate, visceral reaction, what does that unusual pairing immediately suggest to you? What questions pop into your head?
Well, initially, it's the sheer bluntness, isn't it? The almost aggressive juxtaposition. You take something as evocative, often revered as a motion picture soundtrack, and you pair it with such a base anatomical reference. It's startling.
Yeah.
It feels designed to shock. But then almost immediately, the mind starts doing what it does, seeking patterns, trying to rationalize the seemingly irrational.
Right, trying to make sense of it.
Yeah. It instantly sets a tone, a kind of challenge to conventional interpretation. It's confrontational, yes, but also deeply, maybe uncomfortably personal. It forces us to lean in and ask, why this specific combination? What kind of relationship is being set up here between these two, disparate elements?
That's actually the perfect jumping off point for our first major observation, I think. Because the immediate, undeniable pattern that practically screams from the page is that very phrase, in my ass, just appended to a seemingly endless list of song titles.
Endless is right.
We see Holocene in my ass, Sweater Weather in my ass, Deathconsciousness in my ass. I mean, truly dozens upon dozens more. This repetition isn't just common, it feels almost liturgical in its relentless, unyielding application.
Liturgical, yeah.
It creates this rhythm, a kind of, primal chant that just keeps coming at you, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And when we connect this to the bigger picture, communication theory or whatever, the sheer volume and the consistency of this phrase suggest way more than just random swearing or some fleeting crude joke.
Right.
It really speaks to a ritualistic act. naming and placing. Think of it like a mantra maybe, or a ceremonial invocation. The "in my ass" becomes this constant, unchanging anchor point for an incredibly diverse range of cultural artifacts.
An anchor point.
Yeah. It's a deeply performative act, too.
Yeah.
By repeatedly declaring something in this way, the text isn't just stating a fact. It's actively creating a reality, or at least an emphasis, through the very act of saying it over and over. The action itself carries meaning beyond the words, kind of embedding these cultural references into this one singular, visceral framework.
And the effect of that repetition is, I think, one of the most compelling things about this text. Initially, like you said, it's shocking, right? You see motion picture soundtrack in my ass, and your brain just kind of stalls, maybe it does a double take, trying to process the incongruity. But after the 5th time, the 10th time, certainly the 20th time, that initial shock value, that gasp, it starts to wear on.
Fades, yeah.
It goes through this weird transformation. It shifts from pure shock to this rhythmic, almost meditative drone. And suddenly, the phrase, "in my ass," isn't just a crude add-on for the song anymore. It starts to feel like the true subject of the whole document.
That's a great point.
The songs, all those diverse titles, they become almost like mere objects that are being acted upon, absorbed or contained or whatever by this central repeated phrase. It's almost as if the songs are just props there to illuminate the nature of the ass itself.
Precisely. That initial jolt of incongruity gives way to an almost numbing effect, right? A desensitization that forces us, or invites us anyway, to look past the literal, crude interpretation. It elevates "in my ass" from just an anatomical reference to something more symbolic, a container, a visceral receptacle. And this implies a really deeply personal, maybe even involuntary act of taking something into oneself.
Internalizing it.
Exactly. It's not about passively listening to music in the background. It's about embedding it, digesting it, metabolizing it, or even, quite provocatively, maybe expelling it. It makes us ask, what do we truly internalize from the media we consume? What actually sticks, and how does it get so deeply tangled up with our intrinsic being, even in uncomfortable or, undignified ways? This raw internalization suggests a kind of complete surrender to the influence of these cultural inputs. It's just in there.
That's a profoundly insightful way to look at it, because if you think about the power of what's being internalized, appending "in my ass" to really profound or incredibly popular songs, like you mentioned Radiohead's motion picture soundtrack, which is this deeply melancholic, almost spiritual piece. Or think about Johnny Cash's version of "Hurt," which is just pure, unadulterated agony.
Oh, yeah. Raw.
Doing this completely strips away their conventional reverence, doesn't it? Their artistic pedestals just crumble. It's like, I don't know, taking a revered piece of classical music and deciding to perform it entirely on a kazoo.
Great.
It forces you to strip away all the usual prestige and focus on the raw notes, the core melody, but in a completely new, often unsettling way. So here, by slapping "in my ass" onto these profound song titles, the text deliberately dismantles their usual artistic frames. It reduces them, in a way, to a common denominator, the intensely personal, visceral experience. It levels the entire artistic playing field, bringing the grand and the intimate into the same, shall we say, rather confined and undignified space.
Yes, a radical act of deconstruction, as you put it. It really democratizes the entire cultural catalog. It implies that whether it's a critically acclaimed masterpiece or a fleeting pop hit or some obscure indie track, all this cultural input ultimately converges in this same singular, highly personalized internal space. And in doing that, it also plays with this complex idea of personal ownership. Is this a declaration of intense, almost aggressive personal ownership? Like, this song is so profoundly mine, it's literally a part of me, internalized right down to the core. Or is it maybe a humorous, even frustrated dismissal? Like, this song is so overplayed, so pervasive, so inescapable, I'm just sick of it. It belongs here, relegated to the most undignified place imaginable. The inherent ambiguity is just key to its depth, I think. It allows for multiple, sometimes conflicting interpretations all at once.
Let's really lean into that ambiguity then. Let's pick out a few contrasting examples from the list just to highlight this fascinating dynamic. How about "In the Aeroplane Over the Sea, in my ass"? The original title, From Neutral Milk Hotel, it evokes this vast, almost spiritual longing, right? A sense of boundless freedom, introspection.
The big feelings.
Then to anchor it, to ground it in such a crude, visceral statement, It's a jarring collision, isn't it? It perfectly encapsulates what you were saying about deconstruction. The sublime is forced to confront the ridiculous. Does this make us question the very nature of transcendence itself?
It absolutely creates an immediate tension. It forces us to try and reconcile the grand with the base. Or consider Technologic in my ass.
Daft Punk.
Right. The title Technologic immediately brings up images of modern tech. Relentless repetition, almost a cold, mechanical, digital process. But when you add in my ass, it instantly gives that abstract concept, this bizarre embodiment.
Yeah, it makes it physical.
Exactly. It transforms the digital and the abstract into something physically, intimately experienced. It suggests that even the most cutting-edge, algorithm-driven parts of our lives are ultimately filtered through our embodied existence.
Yeah.
They become part of our actual physical reality.
Yeah.
You just go ask how much of our digital world truly resides within us in ways we maybe don't often acknowledge.
That's fascinating. And for a really potent example, one that probably resonates with a lot of people, there is a light that never goes out in my ass.
The Smiths.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. That song is this timeless anthem of hope, endurance, almost defiant optimism, even when things are bleak. To have it then crudely placed in this context, it isn't just funny. It profoundly subverts the song's message.
It really does.
It doesn't extinguish the light exactly, but it drags that enduring beacon into the darkest, most private, often unacknowledged corners of human experience. It sort of challenges us to find that light even there, to recognize that resilience, or maybe even a kind of perverse joy, can exist in the most unexpected and undignified places. It grounds the transcendent in the raw, messy truth of the mundane.
Beautifully put. It forces a confrontation.
So if the relentless repetition of "in my ass" profoundly reshapes how we understand individual songs, stripping away their conventional reverence, let's zoom out a bit now.
Right.
What does the sheer breadth and the eclectic nature of the song titles themselves tell us? This isn't just about the act of internalization, it's about what is being internalized.
Right, the content of the list.
Exactly. We have everything from motion picture soundtrack to Holocene 505 to Deathconsciousness, Hurt to Space Song, Little Dark Age to the Wilhelm Scream, Lotus Flower to Everything Means Nothing to Me. I mean, this is not some niche playlist from one specific genre or era. It's a vast, eclectic collection. It spans what feels like decades of music history, wildly diverse styles, different emotional tones. It's like a true inventory of cultural absorption, almost a mirror to the chaotic way we consume media today.
And this really raises an important question for us to think about. What does the specific selection of these titles and all their astounding variety communicate? About the person who compiled this list, maybe. Or even about the broader human experience of consuming culture.
Yeah.
Because even though we don't have the context of the actual music playing, the titles themselves evoke an incredibly wide spectrum of human emotion, experience, cultural reference points. It suggests a mind that's not only consuming a vast array of media, but is also processing this complex tapestry of human states and narratives. The choices, when you look at them all together, they don't feel random. They resonate with common, profound, often conflicting human experiences. It's like a very raw data set of a lived cultural life.
Let's try and delve into some of those thematic threads that seem woven through these titles. I mean, many of them immediately suggest deep emotional states, right?
Definitely.
We see Hurt, which speaks for itself, just raw agony, but also Skinny Love, evoking vulnerability, absence maybe. Everything means nothing to me. That's a cry of existential despair. I need some sleep, just a plea for rest. Cold Little Heart, hinting at emotional detachment or pain.
Yeah, or numbness.
Apologies, suggesting regret. Bad Time, signaling discomfort, leave me alone, a clear desire for solitude. These aren't just song titles. They're almost like shorthand for moments of vulnerability, despair, internal struggle. The full spectrum of human emotional discomfort, really.
That's a crucial observation.
Yeah.
And interwoven with those raw emotional expressions are titles that clearly hint at more existential, maybe philosophical undertones.
Like what?
Well, consider Deathconsciousness. That immediately conjures deep thoughts about mortality, about being. Oblivion, suggesting a void, forgetfulness, what once was a reflection on loss, the passage of time. Visions of Gideon, which can evoke spiritual or prophetic imagery. Cave In, hinting at collapse or surrender. Static, implying maybe a state of unchanging noise or stagnation. These titles push beyond just immediate personal emotion into broader, more abstract questions. Questions about existence, memory, meaning, the very nature of reality, the human condition. They reflect a deeper engagement with life's big questions, even within this seemingly absurd and irreverent frame.
And then you've got titles that immediately suggest narrative, cinematic qualities. They create these vivid mental scenes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Obviously, motion picture soundtrack itself sets that tone, but also exit music for a film that suggests a dramatic conclusion. The Night We Met, evoking a pivotal encounter. Saw You in a Dream, blending reality with subconscious fantasy. After Dark, hinting at secrets, mystery, maybe nocturnal introspection.
Like life is a movie.
Exactly. These evoke storytelling, a sense of a narrative arc, almost like a personal film playing out in the mind, where the author is maybe both the director and the star of their own internal drama.
And this is where we really see the interplay between deeply personal experience and these broader cultural narratives we absorb. These titles suggest that life itself is being experienced through a kind of cinematic lens, a series of scenes with accompanying soundscapes.
Yeah.
And then, crucially, there are the titles focused on relationships, relational dynamics.
Right, lots of those.
Yeah. Your Best American Girl, exploring identity within a relationship. My Kind of Woman, indicating attraction or idealization. Somebody Else, dealing with infidelity maybe, or longing. I Want to Be Yours, a straight-up declaration of devotion. You are the right one, affirming a connection. Francis Forever, speaking to enduring affection. Love is a laser quest, suggesting a complex, perhaps elusive pursuit of connection. These titles immediately point to that intricate dance of relationships, identity, desire, the complex tapestry of human connection and longing.
And finally, some titles are just pure, abstract, evocative imagery, almost poetic in how concise they are.
Yeah, like little paintings.
Like Anemone, Crystalised, a Pearl, Geyser, Frou-Frou Foxes, and Midsummer Fires. They present these vivid, often natural or whimsical images, almost like snapshots of a very specific, maybe dreamlike internal landscape. It shows a mind that's attuned not just to narrative or emotion, but also to abstract beauty and sensory experience.
So when you take all of these categories together, the emotional, the existential, the narrative, the relational, the abstract, it leads us to a really fascinating possibility.
Which is?
That this entire list is essentially a playlist of the mind.
Huh. I like that.
Yeah. It's like a raw, unfiltered stream of consciousness, a mental inventory of cultural touchstones, thoughts, feelings, images, everything that's been absorbed, processed, and internalized by the author. It reflects the chaotic, unfiltered, often overwhelming way we consume and internalize information in the digital age, where everything from a profound piece of art to a fleeting thought, a personal desire, or a big philosophical question just gets thrown into the same mental blender.
Right, no filter.
Exactly. There's no traditional curation here. Not in the sense of a carefully constructed artistic statement. It's simply what is inside the psyche, laid bare in its most raw form.
That's a powerful image, a raw, unfiltered playlist of the mind. It's a beautifully messy reflection of our inner world, isn't it? So, okay, if this is truly a reflection of what's being absorbed, what happens when the text moves beyond just cataloging these specific inputs and starts to define the container itself?
Ah, yes, the pivot.
Exactly. This is where it takes a truly fascinating turn. After that long, long list of song titles, the text pivots dramatically. It stops itemizing songs and explicitly defines the ass itself. We get ass in my ass is ass, bro. Like, oh, no cap, we're all united by ass, and even my grandma ass is ass.
Yeah.
This isn't about specific instances anymore. It moves from the particular to this grand universal declaration.
This is indeed a profound shift. It signals a text's, well, philosophical core, I think. This grand, almost philosophical statement about ass. It really transcends the crude humor to posit something fundamental, a shared reality.
How do you mean?
Ass is no longer just a physical location or just the butt of a crude joke. It becomes a potent symbol, a metaphor maybe, for our core undeniable humanity. Stripped of all pretense, all the societal layers we build up. It's an incredibly bold philosophical statement dressed in shocking, almost irreverent language.
Right.
And it demands that we look beyond the superficial, beyond the shock value, to the inherent truth it's trying to convey.
So if we analyze ass as a symbol here, my ass, bro, could be interpreted as this incredibly raw, unfiltered embrace of one's fundamental self, maybe the imperfect self.
I think so.
It's a statement of radical authenticity, isn't it? It feels like someone saying, look, this is who I am in my most basic, unvarnished form with all its biological realities, all the unglamorous aspects. It's an acceptance, almost a celebration of the unrefined, often hidden parts of being human that we rarely acknowledge publicly.
Precisely. It's a defiant owning of one's full self, including the parts often deemed unpresentable or base or even shameful. And then this radical self-acceptance expands outwards. It goes from the personal to the collective, with, like, Loki no cap, we are all united by ass. That suggests that beneath all the veneer, culture, intellect, social status, personal preferences, all of it, there's a base, undeniable human commonality.
Okay.
It strips away pretension and finds unity in the most primal, perhaps even embarrassing aspects of our shared humanity. It's a kind of democratic leveling, bringing everyone down to the same fundamental ground, regardless of their superficial differences. It's trying to find common ground in the most unexpected, maybe uncomfortable place.
And the text even throws in generational inclusivity with even my grandma ass's ass. This expands that universality across generations. It implies that this fundamental truth about ass, whatever it symbolizes, it's timeless. It applies to everyone, regardless of age, social standing, historical context. It's a statement that forcefully declares, look, this isn't just a you thing or a modern quirk. This is inherent to human existence across all ages, passed down through generations. It points to a constant, undeniable reality of just being embodied.
Which is further underscored, I think, brilliantly by the deliberate use of contemporary slang. Loki no cap.
Yeah, that stood out.
These phrases basically mean seriously no exaggeration, or for real, I'm not kidding, including Loki no cap, emphasizes the sincerity, the unfiltered nature of this profound declaration. It grounds the philosophical statement in this contemporary, undeniably authentic vernacular. It suggests this isn't just a flippant remark. It's a deeply felt, undeniably true statement delivered with real conviction. It's meant to hit home as an unvarnished truth for a modern audience.
And then, after all of that build-up, all that philosophical groundwork, we get this incredible climactic line, farts unite you us all.
Yeah. With an echo effect noted in the source text.
The echo. Crucial.
This is such a dramatic, almost theatrical shift. It elevates something so mundane, typically hidden, potentially embarrassing, into this grand statement of collective human experience. It's a moment of profound, almost spiritual realization, but wrapped in the utterly absurd. It delivers its truth with a wink and a smile, maybe.
It is indeed a crucial, perhaps the most crucial turning point in the text's philosophical argument. If ass is the universal foundation, right, the shared inherent state of being that underpins our existence, then farts are the shared, unavoidable, and often humorous expression of that commonality.
The expression.
Exactly. It's an act, a biological phenomenon that truly knows no boundaries. Class, culture, sophistication, even social grace. None of it matters. And the echo effect isn't just some formatting note. It powerfully suggests a resonant, undeniable truth. Something that reverberates through all of us. A truth that literally everyone experiences and understands on a fundamental, visceral level. It's a sound that truly belongs to all of humanity. It really hammers home that primal connection, doesn't it? Farts, just as a universal biological process, are an undeniable part of being human. They represent the shared, often undignified reality of our physical bodies. It strips away all the societal polish, the carefully curated public personas we all maintain, and reminds us of our basic animalistic nature, a commonality that connects us beyond any social construct. It forces us to confront our shared, sometimes embarrassing physicality.
And in that stripping away, there's a powerful unifying force. The inherent humor in farts. It serves as an incredibly effective bridge.
How so?
Laughter at our shared human foibles, at the universal absurdity of our physical existence. It can break down barriers and create connection in a way that more serious intellectual discussions often fail to do. It's a great equalizer. It brings everyone down to a common, unpretentious level.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about how many awkward social situations have been diffused, or maybe even bonds forged, by a shared, albeit unexpected, moment of human biological reality. It's a potent, if unconventional, source of collective bonding.
So in a world that's often obsessed with appearances, curated personas, social hierarchies, a world that constantly seems to emphasize what divides us, farts unite you us all, becomes a truly radical statement.
It really is.
It reminds us that at our core, we are all just biological beings, subject to the same processes. And this shared vulnerability, this shared indignity even, can actually be a profound source of connection, not shame or division.
Exactly. In a society that often focuses on political affiliation, socioeconomic status, cultural preferences, identity politics, this text offers a provocative, albeit unusually phrased, vision of unity. It posits that true connection, genuine solidarity, can be found in the most fundamental, even crude human experiences that we all share, regardless of who we are or what songs we might metaphorically have in our ass.
Right.
It's a powerful counter-narrative to division. It proposes this undeniable, visceral common ground that transcends all artificial boundaries. It's a statement that says, look, despite all our differences, we are inextricably linked by our shared fundamental human condition.
Okay, before we wrap up this profound absurdity, we should touch on a couple of specific inclusions that kind of deviate slightly from the main pattern.
Right, there were a couple of outliers.
Yeah. We also have specific non-song related phrases like big booty Latinas in my ass, which notably appears twice in the text. Now, before we discuss this particular inclusion, it's really important to state that while we're analyzing the source material as provided, we are absolutely not endorsing or promoting the use of potentially problematic or stereotypical phrases.
Absolutely essential point.
Our goal, as always, is just to understand what its inclusion and its repetition might signify within the author's unique expression. So, with that important caveat in mind, what does the specific phrase add to the overall mosaic of the text, do you think?
That's a crucial distinction, and it's essential we approach this particular phrase with that understanding firmly in place. Okay, so this inclusion, repeated for emphasis, it adds a layer of specific personal desire, perhaps, or maybe even a commentary on how specific cultural or aesthetic preferences or even perceived stereotypes are also internalized or consumed in the same visceral, in-my-ass manner.
So it's treated the same way as the songs?
Pretty much, yeah. It introduces a very human element, a personal attraction or a specific cultural reference point that gets subjected to the same radical internalizing process as all those abstract song titles. It could represent an intersection of personal desire, cultural perceptions, maybe biases, and the pervasive in-my-ass motif. It suggests that even our attractions, our biases, the images we consume about other people, they're all processed through this raw, deeply personal filter. It's another aspect of the self, including its desires and perceptions, that is just declared as a part of that fundamental internal landscape being described.
Okay. And finally, the entire text ends with ASS July 6, 2025 at 3:43 p.m.
The timestamp.
Yeah. This grounds the entire document in a very specific time and date, which feels almost contradictory to the universal declarations that came right before it. After all this grand, sweeping philosophy about humanity, we get this incredibly precise timestamp. What's going on there?
This raises an important question that kind of lingers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What does this timestamp truly signify? Is it merely the moment of creation?
Yeah.
A personal record of when these seemingly disparate thoughts coalesced into his unique expression?
Could be.
Or perhaps, maybe more profoundly, is it a timestamp on a significant realization? A specific moment of profound insight for the author, capturing the precise instant these universal truths became apparent to them.
Like a moment of clarity.
Possibly. Or you could even argue it's a kind of meta-commentary on the ephemeral nature of digital content itself, suggesting that even grand philosophical declarations, when expressed in this raw, unfiltered, contemporary way, are intrinsically tied to a specific fleeting moment in time, destined to become just part of a larger digital stream.
Interesting.
It transforms the abstract and the universal into a specific lived moment. It gives the entire document this peculiar kind of gravitas, an anchor in reality. It makes us wonder about the context of that specific afternoon, July 6th, 2025, at 3:43 p.m., and what exactly might have prompted such a uniquely candid outpouring.
So what does this all mean when we try and bring it all together? Our deep dive into motion picture soundtrack in myass.txt has taken us from, initial bewilderment, maybe a little discomfort.
Definitely some discomfort.
Dare I say, a genuine appreciation for its raw, unfiltered honesty and its surprising depth. It's a text that masterfully uses humor, vulgarity, startling juxtaposition to explore these profound themes of internalization, radical authenticity, or shared biological commonality, and the really unexpected ways we find connection in our shared human experience. It forces us to confront our own biases about what counts as meaningful content, doesn't it? Challenges us to look beyond superficial appearances.
It fundamentally challenges us, yes, to look beyond the surface, to question our preconceived notions of what is profound or what truly warrants serious consideration. It proposes, quite boldly, that even in the seemingly absurd, the crude, or the irreverent, there can be a radical truth waiting to be discovered.
True.
A truth about how we process culture, how we relate to ourselves in our most basic, unvarnished forms, and how we are fundamentally united by shared, often unacknowledged aspects of our humanity. It suggests that truth can emerge from chaos, and that profound insight can blossom from irreverence. If only we're willing to look, if we're willing to engage with it on its own terms.
It's a powerful reminder, I think, that sometimes the most profound insights, the most universal truths, come from the most unexpected and perhaps even uncomfortable places. It certainly made me think twice about what I might unknowingly be carrying around, metaphorically speaking, in my own ass.
Yeah.
All those cultural inputs, those personal truths, those desires and experiences that get internalized and just become an undeniable, inseparable part of us in the most surprising ways.
And that really raises an important question for you, our listener, to maybe mull over. In what unexpected, perhaps even uncomfortable or seemingly stupid places do you find genuine meaning or unexpected connections in your own life? How do seemingly irreverent or overlooked things sometimes reveal the deepest truths about yourself or about the world around you?
Something to consider until our next deep dive.